I turned down my boyfriend's proposal, but my best friend had a meltdown. She didn't know I had been reborn. In my past life, my best friend deliberately bound herself to a career luck exchange system. The more I obsessed over love, the better her career became. Later, I fell from the top of the entertainment industry and caught her in an affair with my boyfriend. In a daze, I was killed by a falling chandelier. In this life, I've decided to quietly build my career, take down that despicable couple, and then wipe out his entire family. In my previous life, I turned down the olive branch extended by an Oscar-winning director at the peak of my career and announced my retirement from the industry to get engaged. Meanwhile, my best friend Lu Lan Lan, who had been struggling to make it big in the entertainment industry, became an international film star thanks to that movie. At the backstage of her celebration party, I stumbled upon a shocking scene. She was passionately kissing my newlywed husband. I was afraid of losing the two most important people in my life at the same time, so I stopped my mother from standing up for me. Just then, an electronic voice suddenly echoed in my mind. Feng Qiao's love obsession index has exceeded 100, while her career focus index has dropped to 0. She has successfully swapped places with her best friend, Lu Lan Lan, in 3 seconds. The target of the conquest will be erased by the system. As the countdown reached its final seconds, I was crushed to death by a massive chandelier that fell from the ceiling, floating in the air. I saw my dazzling best friend under the spotlight, her husband secretly groping her in the crowd, and my parents weeping in despair as they held my mangled body. I truly died with my eyes wide open. Opening my eyes again, I found myself back to the moment before my boyfriend proposed to me. I heard the mechanical electronic voice of the system in my best friend's mind. Congratulations, host, the career brain exchange system you exchanged for 20 years of your lifespan has been successfully bound. As long as the love obsession index of the target being pursued exceeds 100, the exchanged lifespan will be doubled and returned to the host, and the target will be eliminated. Otherwise, the host will be eliminated. Only then did I realize that my best friend, in order to take everything from me, had maliciously summoned a murder system. After the electronic prompt in my best friend's mind ended, a knock sounded at the door. Lu Lan Lan stood at the front, followed by my boyfriend, Gu Chenfei. Lu Lan Lan was my roommate at film school, hailing from a small town with average grades. Only her face was quite pretty, because she had no power or influence. When she first started school, she was treated like a servant by the rich, beautiful girl in the same dorm. After I stood up for her once, she latched onto me. When I wore designer clothes my parents brought back from abroad, she would say, "I really envy you having parents who love you so much." Not like me. My parents are laid-off workers. They favor boys over girls, and only give me 500 yuan a month for living expenses. I earned the scholarship on my own merit, but she would say, "Oh, your family cultivated your artistic talent from a young age," while I was busy planting rice seedlings and foraging for wild vegetables, never exposed to any artistic influence. My life is so bitter. Feeling sorry for her, I divided what I had into 2 and shared it with her. Little did I know, my kindness only fueled this ingrate's ambition. Lu Lan Lan, with a concerned look on her face, walked into the room. "I heard Director Lin and invited you to meet. I found out that the female lead in his new movie will have a scene with significant nudity. I came to advise you not to meet him, so you won't have to refuse him face to face." "That's right, Xiao Xiao. I don't want you to sacrifice so much for art," my good boyfriend, Gu Chenfei, chimed in. "In fact, I'm a die-hard fan of Director Lin. I know he's not the kind of hypocrite who forces actors to strip for attention. His design is for the sake of the drama and he will definitely respect the actor's thoughts. But in my previous life, my best friend and boyfriend persuaded me to give up, arguing that doing a nude scene would prevent me from marrying into the Gu family. I was so focused on my relationship that I eventually had my agent decline the meeting. No one expected that this was the first step Lu Lan Lan took to eliminate me. The more I became obsessed with love, the more opportunities she would have, and when I was eliminated by the system, my assets would naturally fall into the hands of my husband. That's right, Gu Chenfei was also involved in the elimination plan. I was completely unaware, foolishly giving up my career to accept the marriage proposal, wanting to be his virtuous wife in this lifetime. Lu Lan Lan thought I was still hesitating and gave Gu Chenfei a meaningful look. Gu Chenfei knelt on one knee, took out a ring, and was about to propose, but I caught them off guard. "Chenfei, let's break up." Both of them immediately widened their eyes. "Not at all." Lu Lan Lan bound her lifespan to the murder system. "If I stop being love-struck, she will be erased." Their expressions were quite amusing. "Is it already this entertaining? And it's only just begun?" Lu Lan Lan asked nervously. "Xiao Xiao, what happened?" Why are you suddenly talking about breaking up? I pretended to be dejected and looked at Gu Chunfei kneeling on the ground. Chunfei, being with you every day has been wonderful, but gradually, I've realized I've become worthless and no longer deserve you. Gu Chunfei was a rich second-generation heir, but unfortunately, he was an illegitimate child. His mother was forced to leave the country by the main wife after giving birth to him. In high school, even when he ranked first in his grade, he couldn't catch his father's attention. After all, his father had built his fortune with the help of the main wife's family. Good grades were nothing compared to power and influence. At first, his miserable background stirred my sympathy, but I didn't fall in love with him. It was his 5 years of unwavering care that moved me, making me mistakenly believe he was a sincere and ambitious person. But in my previous life, on the day Lu Lanlan won her award, my dress was stained by a new waiter, and while I was changing in the backstage, I accidentally witnessed Gu Chunfei and Lu Lanlan engaging in an illicit affair. Afterward, Gu Chunfei smoked a cigarette, looking quite pleased. You're still the one who gets me going. With Feng Qiao, it's like my left hand touching my right. No passion at all. After all, I fell in love with you at first sight. With her, it was just her father's background I coveted. With her father's support, I had the chance to take control of the Gu group. Lanlan, just wait a little longer. Marriage can't bind my heart. Once I get what I want, I'll declare to the whole world that I, Gu Chunfei, only love you for a lifetime. What's past was just a compromise. You took advantage of my feelings, benefited from my family, and had the audacity to claim that I trapped you with marriage. This is the man I loved so deeply. I was so furious I felt like vomiting blood, but my mind went blank, as if I'd been hit by a door, leaving me stunned and unable to think. I endured until they finished 3 rounds and left. Only then did I sadly walk out. It so happened that my mother, who came to find me, witnessed them holding hands affectionately, and she wanted to step in on my behalf. However, fearing the loss of my best friend and husband, I begged my mother with tears not to confront that unscrupulous couple. Thinking of all that happened in my previous life, I want to slap myself. I was too foolish, too humiliated. Reborn, I will definitely repay all the humiliation and pain I endured twofold onto them. Seeing my downcast expression, Gu Chunfei hugged me. How could you think that? If I've done anything to upset you, tell me, and I'll definitely change. Lu Lanlan was even more anxious than Gu Chunfei, understandingly saying, yes, couples shouldn't casually talk about breaking up. If Chunfei has any shortcomings, I'll remind him to correct them. Oh, from what you're saying, it sounds like you and my boyfriend are closer than I am with him. Since you two are more in sync, why don't you two be together? After all, he and I are like the left hand touching the right hand. There's no passion left. Lu Lanlan widened her eyes in shock. Qiao Qiao, I'm trying to help you two mend your relationship. How can you twist my words? You know I don't have parents to care for me. Chunfei just treats me like a little sister, and you're the one he truly loves. I understand you're in a bad mood, but have you ever thought that some words are like knives, hurting those who truly love you? Quite the talker, though my heart felt cold. The gloom on my face didn't lessen in the slightest. I'm so happy to hear your true feelings, but actually, I lied. My dad invested a lot of money into chip research, and now our funds have dried up. If we don't get new financing soon, my family will go bankrupt. Chunfei, I don't want to hold you back. After saying this, I started crying. While wiping my tears, I sneakily glanced at their expressions. Both looked like they had swallowed something unpleasant and couldn't digest it. Hee, they never guessed that halfway through the plan, the person being pursued would lose their usefulness. One lost the chance to sell themselves for glory, while the other would be erased by the system if they didn't continue pursuing. Let's see what tricks you can come up with. I was still covering my face and crying, while Lu Lanlan pretended to comfort me. Isn't it just about money? Qiao Qiao, have you forgotten the financial strength of the Gu family? Gu Chunfei remained silent for a long time. Finally, Lu Lanlan looked at him with a pitiful expression, and he stammered, yes, Qiao Qiao, I will do everything in my power to help you through this. Gu Chunfei, that hypocrite, started making empty promises again, as if he had any real say in the Gu family. I wiped away my tears and spoke up at the right moment. My dad needs 50 million to get through this. Chunfei, can you really help me with this? I know the Gu family is wealthy, but the financial power is in the hands of the eldest branch. Gu Chunfei only gets a monthly allowance of 100,000 from the family fund. Where could he possibly get 50 million from? He must be trying to make excuses to delay, waiting to trick the chip secrets from my dad and present them to Uncle Gu, then team up with Lu Lanlan and the system to eliminate me. Indeed, Gu Chunfei showed signs of difficulty. Ciao ciao, it's hard to gather 50 million in cash all at once, give me more time. I'll talk to Dad about selling the villa he gave me, and some stocks too. I was right after all. Lu Lanlan also pulled me back, asking me not to make things difficult for Gu Chunfei. I simply forced out 2 more tears and pulled out my phone. You're right, I can't make things difficult for Chunfei. I'll call my agent right now. From now on, I'll take any variety show, any script, as long as the price is high and the payment is quick, even if it means taking on revealing roles. I must save my dad, Chunfei. I've made up my mind about breaking up. I can't abandon my parents and selfishly enjoy a sweet romance. I need to focus on making money. Seeing that I had actually dialed my agent's number, Lu Lanlan quickly snatched the phone and hung up. You absolutely cannot take Director Lin's film, and you two can't break up either. Chunfei, think of a way. Think about how hard how hard you two have come all this way. By the way, Chunfei, don't you have a confidant in Gu's finance department? You can ask him to help bridge the gap. Once Fang's situation stabilizes, the money can be repaid quickly, and even Uncle Gu doesn't need to be involved. I smiled triumphantly. In order to stop me from taking the role in Director Lin's play and replacing myself, Lu Lanlan actually persuaded Gu Chunfei to embezzle public funds. Gu Chunfei looked at me, sobbing, and remained silent for a long time, until Lu Lanlan had been making eyes at him for a while. He finally gritted his teeth and said, Ciao ciao, don't cry, I'll get the 5 million settled today. Lu Lanlan also pretended to be a green tea girl to comfort me. Don't worry, Chunfei will help you figure things out. Just stay at home and be a little princess. Hearing this, Gu Chunfei knelt down again, took out a ring, and said, Ciao ciao, marry me, I will spoil you into the happiest princess in the world. I smiled but didn't say a word as he slipped the ring onto my finger. How could I break up when I haven't finished playing with you yet? Sure enough, the 50 million arrived on time. I took the money to honor my parents, telling them it was the betrothal gift from the Gu family. My parents, unaware of the truth, thought I had found happiness and happily urged me to cherish Gu Chunfei. What they didn't know was that in my previous life, after I died, my mother suffered a heart attack, and Gu Chunfei, in collusion with the Gu family, took advantage of the situation to plunder the Fang group. My father had to take care of my mother while trying to save the company, all the while neglecting his own illness and refusing to seek medical attention. In the end, exhausted from constant toil day and night, he collapsed and died on his way to the hospital. I looked at my parents with melancholy. Just embezzlement charges were far from enough to avenge Lu Lanlan and Gu Chunfei, that despicable couple. I immediately called my agent to arrange a meeting with Director Lin, emphasizing the need for confidentiality regarding the schedule. That night, I spent the entire evening chatting with Director Lin and the screenwriting team. After all, I had been a fan of his for years, and our creative ideas aligned perfectly. He quickly decided to cast me as the lead actress. The female lead is a masked agent, and I also suggested keeping the cast under wraps before the movie's release to surprise the fans. The director happily agreed. I turned down all other work and spent every day at home studying the script. Meanwhile, Lu Lanlan thought I was just digging for wild vegetables. I heard she tried to secretly contact Director Lin a few times but was turned away every time. On this day, she blamed her career troubles on my decreasing love brain score and brought Gu Chunfei to my house to force me into a date. My eyes reddened. My dad fell ill trying to pay off debts, so I took an outdoor variety show gig and I'm set to join the crew tonight. The plan hit another snag. Gu Chunfei's face darkened. Lu Lanlan couldn't bother pretending to be a lady in front of Gu Chunfei anymore and shouted, What, didn't I tell you to focus on preparing for the wedding? How could you go back on your word? Don't you know this will hurt Chunfei? And how much money can a variety show even make? Me, 2 million. Now the despicable couple fell silent. Gu Chunfei took my hand and said, 2 million isn't that much. If you still need money, I can have the finance department arrange some more. I thought you believed I was doing it for the money. Spending your money is nowhere near as fun as taking your lives. I took out the program contract. The contract has already been signed, with a penalty of 50 million. I have to go. The first stop is the desert, the second is a volcano, and we have to eat rats and cockroaches. It's precisely because no female artist is willing to take the risk that the program team agreed to transfer the money to me right away. Chunfei, I'm afraid our wedding will have to be postponed. If you don't agree, we can break up. Gu Chunfei suddenly hugged me and comforted me, saying, Don't worry, let me take this company call first, and we'll talk when I get back. After Gu Chunfei pretended to leave, Lu Lanlan also excused herself to go to the restroom and left. I secretly followed and hid behind the flower bed, hearing Gu Chunfei's voice. How about you go in her place? Lu Lanlan said with grievance. Brother Chunfei, how could that work? I would miss Director Lin's movie audition, and the schedule is so dangerous. How could I possibly complete it? How about you have the finance department transfer another 50 million and let her pay the penalty instead? Gu Chunfei rubbed his forehead. Lan, if I transfer again, my dad will find out, and I'll be kicked out of the house. You're the most sensible one, you should know that everything must be considered in the larger context. After a pause, he added, every variety show has a script, it's not as dangerous as she makes it out to be. Besides, once Fang Qiao marries me and she's erased, what role can't you get then? Lu Lanlan finally calmed down, and her sense of grievance also faded. You're right, I snorted coldly and returned to my room. You have quite the appetite, asking for this and that without even considering whether I agree or not. Not long after, the two of them came in one after the other. Lu Lanlan walked over to me and affectionately linked her arm with mine. Qiao, I haven't been attentive enough to you. It's only natural that you're worried about Uncle Fang and want to earn money. Since I've been wanting to travel and broaden my horizons, I'll go on the outdoor variety show for you. You'll still get the money as usual. You can stay here to prepare for the wedding and help Uncle Fang through his difficulties. After saying that, Lu Lanlan looked at me. Are you relieved now? Of course I am. It's a carefully planned trip for you, and it's in a foreign country. When the time comes and you call out to heaven, heaven won't respond. And you call out to earth, earth won't answer. Just thinking about it is thrilling, I quickly agreed. Then I'll have to trouble my good friend. That night, I had the people I arranged beforehand pose as program crew staff to take Lu Lanlan onto the plane. All her accompanying staff were stopped at the plane due to contractual regulations. After that, I threw myself into the preparation for the new movie. Sometimes when I'm tired of memorizing lines, I watch Lu Lanlan on the monitor. No wonder they were hired at a high cost. Their disguises are realistic, and they are well trained. Lu Lanlan is forced to eat live mice and cockroaches, crying loudly in fear. When the mouse squeaks in her mouth, Lu Lanlan also starts screaming frantically, with no regard for her image. When it came to the moment of crossing the manure pit, she managed to escape by luck, but she was still captured overnight by the people I had arranged. She was then kicked into the manure pit, and like a groundhog, every time she tried to surface, she was beaten back with a stick. The scene was truly satisfying. Of course, I wouldn't let her die so easily. I haven't had enough fun yet. Only after she had eaten and drank her fill did I order her release. That night, she finally realized something was wrong and tried to call for help, but her phone had been tampered with. With no one to turn to, she instinctively came up with a clever plan. She would seduce the show's director by stripping to save her life. Little did she know that the entire process had been recorded. Unfortunately, the director wasn't buying her act. After she finished her performance, she was met with a big eye roll. Embarrassed and annoyed, she slammed the door and returned to her room, beginning to doubt her charm. After watching the whole thing, I burst out laughing, my drowsiness gone, and continued memorizing the script. In my previous life, after my death, my mother suffered a heart attack and fell into a coma. While my father was entirely focused on saving her, Gu Chunfei took the opportunity to claim he had contacted a top foreign heart specialist, gaining my father's trust, so my father took my mother abroad for treatment. At that moment, Gu Chunfei spread rumors that my family's products had radiation, and my father absconded with the funds. By the time Fang's stock plummeted, Gu Chunfei joined forces with the ambitious members of the Gu family to aggressively acquire shares. When my father finally realized what was happening, he discovered that the so-called expert was a con artist, and the board of directors was already controlled by Gu Chunfei and his father, who held the majority of the shares. My father quickly contacted his former subordinates to strategize on reclaiming the company, but unfortunately died of a sudden heart attack from overwork, and my mother, ultimately due to a moment of negligence by the caregiver, fell from her hospital bed and died. But I know that this caregiver was specially arranged by Gu Chunfei. I have always been puzzled as to why Gu Chunfei, having gained everything, would go to such lengths to annihilate my parents. Until my father's funeral, when my soul witnessed what Gu's father did, he poured a bottle of Mutai disgracefully over my father's tombstone, muttering, "You deserve it for refusing a toast only to drink a forfeit." It turned out that everything had been orchestrated by him, just because my father didn't drink the toast he offered at a banquet years ago, thus embarrassing him. He harbored a grudge. As expected, the father of a bad seed is also a bad seed. At that moment, I silently vowed, how this father and son destroyed my parents. I will repay them in kind, since Gu Chunfei most wants to please his father. What if, by making his father believe that he harbors ambitions to monopolize the Gu Corporation, the eldest son of the Gu family is named Zhuang Fia? In my previous life, I only saw her a few times at cocktail parties. Each time, Gu Chunfei appeared timid and submissive, leading me to think that Ms. Zhuang was some kind of terrifying figure. In reality, her family is wealthy, and she is also very beautiful, just being jealous and dealing with the other woman with ruthless methods. That day, I deliberately chose to visit the store on the day Hermès launched new products, because Ms. Zhuang would definitely be enjoying super VIP service in the VIP room. While picking out items, I put on a fake voice and acted out a phone call. Brother Chunfei, I don't mind, but my mom said she'd be embarrassed if the diamond ring isn't big enough. She showed me a pink square diamond, just over 50 million. If the money isn't enough, should I sell the villa? Oh, you really don't need my help. I knew you loved me, you'd even pluck the stars from the sky for me. Love you, love you. After hanging up the phone, I pointed excitedly at a row of Hermès on the shelf. I'll take this whole row. My husband gave me a black card. My friend, playing along as the bootlicker, feigned surprise at my cue. Jojo, are you really going to marry the second son of the Gu family? I heard he doesn't have real power, so how can he be so rich? He can just take out 50 million in cash like that. I rolled my eyes at her and said loudly, Brother Chunfei was the top scorer in the college entrance exam. Do you know how much Uncle Gu values him? He's even planning to leave the inheritance to him alone. Brother Chunfei said that the Gu family will be his sooner or later, and he can get as much money as he wants with just one phone call. You don't know anything and you're just talking nonsense here. The bootlicker quickly chimed in. Yes, yes, yes. Gu Chunfei is indeed much more capable than the eldest son of the Gu family. After paying the bill, I left happily. That night, Gu Chunfei, who was still in the dark, came to my house to show concern for my parents and urged me, Xiao Xiao, I see Uncle Fong has recovered quite well. Shouldn't we move forward with the wedding? Get married, in a hurry to get married so you can kill me and take over my family's property. If you want to get married in this lifetime, first experience what true despair feels like. I also want to stick with you, but my dad said he wants to test you. Can you handle the challenge? Just as I was teasing him and playing push and pull, Gu Chunfei's phone suddenly rang. After he finished his call in the garden and stormed back in. Xiao Xiao, did you tell others about me misappropriating funds? I blinked my innocent big eyes. Chunfei Gij, what are you saying? I didn't understand your meaning. Gu Chunfei was so excited that he pounded the wall. My dad found out about the bridge incident. Besides me, only you and Lon Lon know about it. Lon Lon is abroad recording a show, so that leaves only you. I pretended to be flustered and then said ambiguously, there's something I shouldn't say, but I'm afraid you'll misunderstand. Actually, your brother is chasing Lon Lon and even followed her to the production team. Maybe Lon Lon accidentally let something slip to him. Of course, I believe Lon Lon didn't do it on purpose. Gu Chunfei gritted his back teeth. Really, Lu Lanlan's phone had no signal for half a month, so she had no chance to contact him. With all these rumors, how could he not overthink it? Lon Lon called me from abroad once, asking me to find out your brother's preferences and telling me not to say anything. They really are a good match. I thought Lon Lon didn't want paparazzi following her and affecting her relationship, so I kept it a secret for her. I really didn't expect her to accidentally let it slip. Gu Chunfei still didn't believe it. How could it be Lon Lon? Then you don't believe me. If that's the case, why are we even getting married? After saying that, I burst into tears. Gu Chunfei had no choice but to comfort me. After comforting me for a long time and seeing that I was determined to call off the engagement, he became so anxious that he knelt down. Xiao Xiao, I was just too anxious and spoke. Without thinking, I've been with you for 5 years. How could I not believe you and instead trust Lu Lon Lon, an outsider? To be honest, everyone knows she's a woman who sleeps around. If it weren't for your close relationship with her, I wouldn't even bother with her. A scumbag is a scumbag. Once his interests are threatened, the woman he claims to love the most instantly becomes a bitch. Lu Lon Lon exchanged her life for a murder system for such a man. How ridiculous. Before leaving, Gu Chunfei said he would continue the investigation and let the evidence speak. If it really was Lu Lon Lon, he would never let her off. And to think she was a top scorer in the college entrance exam. Her brain doesn't seem to work too well. What if they find the person responsible for the leak? When Gu Fu learned that his son had embezzled public funds, the trust Gu Chunfei had in his heart plummeted to zero. When suspicion grows unchecked, what will the narrow-minded Gu Fu do? It's truly exciting to Anticipate, a few days later, Lu Lanlan returned, just a second before she disembarked from the plane. A spicy video of her seducing the program director topped the trending searches. As I hummed a tune and applied a face mask at home, Lu Lanlan, emaciated and haggard, stormed in to confront me. "You set me up, didn't you?" I widened my eyes. "Lanlan, are you okay? How did you end up looking like this? You scared me to death. Also, what's going on with the trending video? I was worried about you." She was so agitated that she screamed. I checked. There is no such show at all. Today's paparazzi expose was deliberately planted by someone with malicious intentions. I pretended to be shocked. How could that be? The show was arranged for me by the boss of the video platform invested by Goo Corporation. Why would he play a trick on me? Such schemes and tricks, I would never have thought of them in my previous life. In this life, they come naturally to me. Lu Lanlan was so angry that her eyes were bloodshot. "You did this on purpose. You knew that the Gu family's first branch wanted to take everything from Chenfei, even destroy you, so you made me get on your boat." "Good, she really thinks it was Madame Zhuang's scheme." I tore off the facial mask, putting on a white lotus expression as I began to sob. "Lanlan, you're right, it's my fault for harming you. I'll give you whatever compensation you want." Lu Lanlan gritted her teeth so hard they nearly shattered, and she lunged at me. Just then, Gu Chenfei, who had come to bring me a late-night snack, arrived. Seeing this scene, he didn't even ask for an explanation before slapping Lu Lanlan across the face. "You wretch, why would you hurt Xiao Xiao?" Thud, Lu Lanlan fell to the ground, her face filled with disbelief. Of course, Gu Chenfei didn't slap her for my sake, but rather out of anger over the green hat on his head and his resentment at being driven out of the Gu family. I pretended to be heartbroken and went to help Lu Lanlan up, saying, "Chenfei, she's my best friend. Even if Lanlan went too far, you shouldn't have hit her, and you even called her promiscuous and told me to keep my distance from her. I really don't know how to face you anymore." Lu Lanlan broke down, lunging at Gu Chenfei. "You hit me, and you call me fickle? Fine, Gu Chenfei, I'll spill everything today. If it comes to it, we'll both be ruined." Seeing the situation spiral out of control, Gu Chenfei quickly tried to salvage it. "Lu Lanlan, what nonsense are you talking? Don't you value your life?" Lu Lanlan froze in shock, seeing the two of them wanting to back down. I decided to add fuel to the fire. Clang, I took off my ring and threw it on the ground. "Gu Chenfei, how dare you threaten Lanlan? I'm not getting married anymore." I choked back tears and started calling my agent, telling her to help me draft a press release to announce the cancellation of the engagement. I had put it on speakerphone, and my agent shouted from the other end, "Xiao Xiao, don't be impulsive, your movie." I quickly hung up because I knew what my agent was about to say. "Next, the movie is about to start filming. It's better to avoid unnecessary trouble. I can't let Lu Lanlan and Gu Chenfei hear this now. After all, I have other plans." Gu Chenfei, who had already lost everything, saw that I was really calling my agent to announce the cancellation of the engagement and was so anxious that he knelt on the ground, slapping himself in the face. "Xiao Xiao, it's my fault. I spoke out of turn. I'll apologize to Lanlan right away. Please, forgive me." Lu Lanlan knew I was serious and realized that saving her life was more important. Covering her face, she said, "I'm fine. It's my fault for being despicable, and I deserve to be hit. Chenfei teaching me a lesson is actually helping me turn over a new leaf." Only after Gu Chenfei had beaten himself into a swollen mess did I pretend to stand up for justice and speak up. "No way. Why is it that when men make mistakes, it's considered a minor issue, but when women make mistakes, they're condemned by everyone? Lanlan, if you can't swallow this injustice, give it back to him." As if she had been waiting for this moment for a long time. To Gu Chenfei's stunned expression, Lu Lanlan raised her hand and gave him 2 resounding slaps. "I'm even with him now, Jojo, please forgive him." Gu Chenfei glared at her fiercely, sneering coldly. Looking at the 2 reddened faces, I pretended to let go. "All right, Lanlan, I'll listen to you and forgive him." A slight provocation was enough to make their eyes meet with venom and despair. It's laughable for selfish people to talk about love. After being kicked out of the company by his father, Gu Chenfei also lost his villa, and the only way to turn things around was to marry me. Halfway through the wedding preparations, I demanded that Gu Chenfei use his shares in the Gu Corporation as dowry. Chenfei Gu's jaw dropped. Lanlan Lu also pulled me aside, saying I was being too greedy. Those were some of the few remaining assets Chenfei Gu had left, and giving them to you would be like taking his life. Of course I knew that, otherwise why would I have asked him for them? In my previous life, He used the Gu Corporation shares he held as startup capital to obtain Fang Corporation shares, ultimately setting up a scheme that led to my father being ousted from the board of directors in this lifetime. Only by taking his assets for myself can I feel at ease leaving him with his miserable life. Sure enough, Gu Chunfei refused to go along with it. Fang Qiao, that's enough. You keep asking for this and that, why don't you just take my life instead? If it weren't for the fact that you've been with me for 5 years and I wanted to take responsibility for you, I wouldn't be in such a hurry to get married. Since you're not genuinely committed to building a future with me, let's just call it quits. I won't interfere with your affairs anymore. Please return the 50 million you borrowed from me as soon as possible. I never expected you to be so materialistic. Spending 5 years with you was a waste of my time. I must have been blind. Oh, you're triggered. It's good that you're triggered. It means I've hit the scumbag's bottom line. I forced out a few more tears and pulled out a prenuptial agreement. Brother Chunfei, don't rush. Take a look at this first. Chunfei Gu was stunned after reading the contract. Qiao Qiao, you and Uncle Fang are planning to transfer the company to me. I obediently nodded. Chunfei, I didn't expect my earlier words to have caused a misunderstanding. I'm an only child and not good at managing the business. After we get married, the company will naturally be yours. Asking you for shares in the Gu Corporation is to encourage you to invest in the Fang Corporation, and with my father's shares, you can legitimately join the board and become the chairman. After the big argument at my house last time, I told my parents about my past life, including the matter of being erased by the system, although my parents didn't understand what the system was. After hearing about the grievances I suffered in my past life and the tragic deaths they endured, they decided to support my revenge without hesitation. At that time, I held my parents' hands and cried like a fool. No matter when, only my parents are the ones who are most tolerant and trusting of me. In this lifetime, I will do everything in my power to ensure they enjoy their later years in peace. At my urging, my father and the company's old-timers put on a show, making Gu Chunfei willingly hand over his shares in the Gu Corporation. Wow, there's quite a bit of assets. Combined with the scattered shares my father had people buy, my family soon controlled 38% of the Gu Corporation's shares. To keep Lu Lanlan in check, I had someone handle her scandal discreetly and bought trending topics daily to praise her for her good figure in the spicy video. Portraying her as an independent woman with a big queen script, Lu Lanlan was immersed in her smooth career. And Gu Chunfei was joyfully familiarizing himself with the Fang Corporation's business. Taking advantage of their relaxed guard, I secretly joined the film crew to complete the movie shoot. By the time the movie wrapped up, the wedding plans were also underway. During the preparations, Gu Chunfei and Lu Lanlan, afraid that I might change my mind, took turns keeping an eye on me. They say it's to ease my pre-wedding anxiety, but it's really just surveillance. But it doesn't matter, I've secured the shares, the film has wrapped, and everything is almost over. On the wedding day, all the prominent figures in City A were in attendance, including Gu's father and Ms. Zhuang, who showed up to maintain appearances in front of outsiders. While fixing my hair and makeup backstage, Lu Lanlan came over, glowing with excitement. To show off, I got a new movie role. Guess who the director is? I knew why she was so ecstatic, so I pretended to be curious. Can't be Director Lin, right? Lu Lanlan scoffed. Besides him, there are many excellent directors in the world. The one who approached me for collaboration is Director Zhang. He's going to shoot an epic blockbuster, and I'm the only leading actress. The official announcement will be made this afternoon. She continued to gloat. Oh, and do you know who's accompanying me to the wedding today? It's the heir of Hermes. He's way more capable than Gu Chunfei. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't compare. But anyway, really thank you for getting married and retiring from the industry, giving me so many opportunities. I wish you and Chunfei Gage a long and happy life, with lots of chubby babies. Alas, my silly best friend, thinking I couldn't catch the sarcasm in her words. On the brink of disaster, she still brags about her imminent rise to fame and marrying into a wealthy family. Keep dreaming. When the dream ends, you'll be going to hell. The wedding begins. During the ring exchange, my father announces that the Fang group will be inherited by the new son-in-law. Down below, Father Gu's expression first shows astonishment, then turns to joy, and his look at his son also changes from disdain to softness. The snobbery was truly brought to life. Seeing Gu Chunfei's mouth break into a wide smile, I continued, I have a surprise for my beloved husband. The crowd below began to jeer. What surprise could be more valuable than the dowry from the Fang group? Gu Chunfei was ecstatic to the extreme. Is there a surprise? Qiao Qiao, you're so kind to me. I can't bear to let you leave me. Hee hee, still dreaming of killing me. Just like Lu Lon Lon, thinking I wouldn't understand, not even pretending anymore, but while he was getting carried away, I whispered in his ear, "Brother Chenfei, this grand gift is sure to leave an indelible mark on your memory." With a contemptuous smile on my face, the large screen behind me began to play a video. In the video, a woman in silk pajamas appeared, pinned beneath a man dressed in a suit, and the location where they were intimately honing their skills was none other than an office at Goo Corporation, equipped with one-way glass. Outside, the Goo employees were scrambling, while inside, the shameless couple was indulging in thrilling X-rated activities. The dim lighting did not hinder the recognition of the protagonists. It was indeed Gu Chenfei and Lu Lon Lon, the shameless couple. Gu Chenfei and Lu Lon Lon looked stunned. I exchanged a knowing smile with Ms. Zhuang in the audience. A few seconds later, the audience below finally snapped back to reality, and the scene erupted into chaos. Holy crap, this is absolutely explosive. Lu Lon Lon even stole her best friend's husband, yet she still has the nerve to portray herself as an independent woman. Who would have thought she could be so shameless? Gu Chenfei is such a hypocrite. He usually puts on that elite act and looks down on everyone, but it turns out he's so desperate that he'd even do it in a busy office, but only 2 minutes at a time. Isn't that a bit too short? The surrounding chatter grew louder and louder. Everyone who had gotten a taste of the juicy gossip was thrilled, not even bothering to avoid the two people involved, who were right there on the scene. Lu Lon Lon and Gu Chenfei, hearing the increasingly offensive remarks, could no longer maintain their composure. Their faces showed anger, confusion, and a mix of emotions that could only be described as a spectacle. Gu's father's expression was as if he had eaten something rotten, dark and foul. Just as they were about to be drowned in the flood of spittle from the crowd, the three of them tried to leave, only to be stopped by the people I had arranged. Laughable, the show isn't over yet. How could I let you leave? The area outside was packed with reporters, and soon I ordered them to be let in, allowing them to film the video extensively. Mr. Gu's hands trembled as he pointed at my father on the stage and shouted angrily, "Mr. Fong, I gave you face by attending the wedding, and what do? You let your daughter ruin my Gu family's reputation." My father took the host's microphone with a smile and retorted, "It's your son who disgraced himself. How can you blame my daughter? Like father, like son. If your son is so despicable, you, as his father, should reflect on yourself." Mr. Gu, furious and humiliated, yelled, "You worthless scoundrel, I'll beat you to death." In a fit of anger, he wanted to rush onto the stage and confront my father, but unfortunately, he was stopped by security. He had no choice but to vent his anger by slapping Gu Chenfei beside him. Gu Chenfei was like a stray dog, only capable of lowering his head weakly, with no ability to resist. "Tsk, what a coward." After watching the show, I said slowly, "Uncle Gu, I know you're anxious, but don't be in such a hurry." Immediately, I took out the Gu family's share certificate. "Your son transferred his shares to me to curry favor with my family, and your wife sold her shares to me to ruin your son's reputation. On top of that, the anonymous purchases we made have made my father the largest shareholder of the Gu Corporation. I advise you to recognize your position and speak respectfully to my father." Mr. Gu was about to charge at me again, truly thinking he was some kind of mafia boss. This time, I didn't stop him, letting the security guards pin him down and rub him into the ground. Ms. Zhuang, who had just been watching indifferently, was also completely stunned. In her previous life, she was my mother's mahjong partner. After my parents passed away, she led people to ransack our home, destroyed the decorations my mother had personally arranged, and even mocked my mother's poor taste and bad luck. How could I possibly let go of such a hypocritical and vicious woman? Out of all the people present, if there's anyone I admire, it would have to be Lu Lon Lon. Despite being insulted so harshly, she remained calm and composed when she met my provocative gaze. "Fong Qiao, you've already left the industry. If you don't settle down and become a dutiful wife, do you really think you can make a comeback?" I smiled without saying a word. The next second, a reporter's voice revealed the truth to her. "Fong Qiao, I heard you starred in director Lin's new film and have a chance to compete for the Oscar for Best Actress. How do you manage to balance your career and personal life?" Wow, her home is such a mess, yet she still has time to star in a new movie. Does she have 3 heads and 6 arms or something? This is the real strong female lead. Director Lin really has an eye for talent. Admiration and camera flashes surrounded me. Lu Lon Lon, on the other hand, seemed like her soul had left her body, her eyes vacant. Before she died, I decided to tell her one more thing. Actually, it was my arrangement for Director Zhang to offer you a role. I just used a lousy script to trick you, and you really fell for it, thinking Director Zhang favored you. How could you be so foolish? What's your status? What's your acting ability? Don't you have any self-awareness? Lu Lanlan screamed hoarsely. How is that possible? Director Zhang called me personally. How could it be a lie? I smiled calmly. Why not? Voice changers are easy to buy. You're still living in the past. I also know you made a deal with the killer system. If my career goes smoothly and I stay away from scumbags, you'll be erased. Surprised, shocked, Lu Lanlan's pupils trembled, and she staggered back. Fang Qiao, you're tricking me, aren't you? You're acting. Right, you're as stupid as a pig, having been deceived by me for so many years. How could you suddenly wake up? I looked at her with a face full of sympathy. Whether it's true or false, why don't you verify it yourself? I left her, her face twisted in despair, behind and turned to smash the ring into Gu Chunfei's face. As the ring clinked to the ground, Lu Lanlan suddenly let out a scream of pain. The ceiling light fell off at some point, landing right on her head and causing her limbs to twist and blood to splatter. Chaos erupted at the scene. The killing system really killed someone. Gu Chunfei was stunned, mumbling to himself, and even left his father on the ground, stepping over him as he rushed out the door. But the next second, he was struck by a meteorite falling from the sky. Blood gushed out as he convulsed and collapsed to the ground, twitching a few times like a bug before losing all signs of life. At that moment, my mind synchronized with the mechanical system voice in Su Lanlan's head. Dear host, we regret to inform you that your mission has failed. Both the host and the accomplice who disrupted the system's task have been eliminated, indoor and outdoor. Two bizarre accidents, like a real-life Final Destination. Fortunately, everyone else was unharmed. Later, the reporter released the X-rated videos, the brawl videos, and the terrifying accident videos truthfully from the scene. The internet exploded. They all exclaimed with emotion, "The way of heaven cycles, retribution is not unjust." The words of the ancients are all truths. Later on, under the obstruction of my father and his trusted aides, the Gu family was taken over by the Fang family. Mr. Gu was greatly struck and fell ill, never to recover. As for Ms. Zhuang, she was a smart person. Knowing that my family's methods were unorthodox, she took the funds, abandoned her husband, and fled abroad. Years later, on the night my father became the richest man in City A man who looked like Mr. Gu was begging at the entrance of the banquet, and I happened to run into him. Seeing that his entire right arm was missing, his empty sleeve swaying pitifully, I asked my assistant to generously give him a steamed bun. The next day, while I was on my private jet heading for vacation, news reported that a beggar fought with a pack of wild dogs over a steamed bun and was eventually devoured, leaving not even a trace of his bones. How pitiful. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. In my previous life, whenever my mother complained of heart pain, I would spend hundreds of thousands to have a heart bypass surgery done for her. When she fell from the building, I stayed by her side in the hospital for a month, taking care of everything, not only paying for expenses but also putting in the effort. Yet, she always favored my younger brother. As soon as he mentioned needing to buy a house, she stole all my savings. I got angry because of this, but she scolded me for being unfilial, went live on a stream saying I had never given her a single penny, and netizens accused me of being unfilial. I was run over and killed by a radical netizen. Since you said you never used a single cent of mine, in this new life, I truly won't give you a single penny, Mom. If you're short on money, just let me know, and I'll transfer it to you. As I said this, my brain froze for a moment. I had returned to my previous life, where every time I asked her if she needed money, she would say yes, but the next day, my brother would come and tell me that Mom was out of money. I never understood why she didn't just tell me she had no money, until my death in my previous life, when she said to me, I never asked you for a single cent, all that money was what you voluntarily gave me. So she was just pretending to be noble, wanting both money and reputation. Sure enough, the next second, my mother spoke up, Son, I've already used so much of your money, how could I possibly take more? It pains me to see you like this. Listening to these hypocritical words, I heard some noise on the other end of the phone. As expected, she had it on speaker. With the village aunties nearby, I faintly heard them feeling sorry for my mother, saying she was too considerate of me, that she raised me, and it was only right for her to take my money, especially since they had never seen me give her any. Listening to the murmurs around me, I sneered, Fine, you've certainly used enough, considering I've been giving you 3,000 every month without fail." As soon as I said that, I heard my mother let out a sharp scream, followed by the sound of the phone hitting the floor. I heard Aunt Lee's voice. "Suifong, didn't you say you cared for the younger generation and never took money from your eldest son? That's quite a lot. 3,000 a month, didn't you say your eldest son never gave you any money?" There seemed to be a moment of confusion on the other end. My mom's voice came through the phone again, sounding somewhat taken aback. "Why are you talking differently today than before, Mom? Logically speaking, an elderly person like you shouldn't need 3,000 a month, so you must have saved up quite a bit," I said slowly. "I know, she gave all her money to her brother." My mother was taken aback for a moment. "Yes, it's quite a lot, what's wrong? Didn't you tell me yesterday that you wanted to install natural gas? Why not use the money for that?" I said as if it were nothing. She had mentioned to me more than once that the village was planning to install natural gas for every household, and it only cost 6,000 yuan. I asked her if she wanted it and I would install it for her, but she said no. But not long after, my brother told me that Mom actually wanted it, but she felt sorry for me, seeing how hard I worked to earn money and couldn't bear to let me spend it. In my past life, I was moved and generously paid for it on Mom's behalf. My mom was stunned upon hearing this. Me paying for it." As soon as she finished speaking, Aunt Lee chimed in. "It's not easy for children to earn money outside, you should think about your child too." Another person also added, "Ah Sheng clearly gives you 3,000 a month, why did you lie to us? You can't be so heartless toward your child, it's not easy for them to make money outside." "I didn't," my mother argued weakly. After all, she had always maintained an elegant and aloof image in public before. I decisively hung up the phone. In this lifetime, I will personally tear apart her facade of aloofness. I washed up and was just about to go to bed. The next second, my brother called. I answered the phone. The first half of the conversation was the usual small talk and catching up. Finally, just as I was about to hang up, he got to the point. "Big brother, I heard Mom is a bit short on cash lately," my brother said in a tone of concern for our mother. I pretended not to understand. "How could that be? I just gave Mom 3,000 last month." My younger brother Zhao Wen sighed. "We only have this one mother left. I'm not capable enough to let her enjoy life, and now she's so worried about money that she can't sleep all night. She's even started owing money at the supermarket on the street, and they're asking for it. Here we go again." His words were meant to make me feel guilty. In the past, I would have comforted him and immediately handed over the money, but now, I just smiled. "I just called Mom today, and she said she still has money. How come it's gone again by the time it gets to you? If you're short on cash, you can tell your brother. You can't use our elderly mother as an excuse to get money." "No." Zhao Wen panicked instantly, as if this got out, his reputation would be ruined. "It was Mom who said it herself. She just felt too embarrassed to tell you." I feigned confusion in my tone. "We're both her sons. How could he have the nerve to tell you but not me? Could it be you're short on money and trying to pocket it for yourself?" "I did not," Zhao Wen shouted angrily. "From now on, if she's short on money, she can tell you herself. I'm not getting involved anymore. It's not like she doesn't have a mouth of her own. I'm done helping." With that, he hung up the phone, clearly furious. Every time, it was Zhao Wen who helped Mom ask for money, and in Mom's eyes, I, the one who provided the money, never got any credit, while he, the one who just spoke up, was always the best. Thanks to him, I ended up giving her the money. Sure enough, not long after my brother hung up the phone, my mom called. She sounded a bit anxious, as if she had just had an argument. "Ah Sheng, what's going on? Your brother just called me out of the blue and was really angry. What did you say?" I pretended not to know and sighed. "Mom, don't worry about Zhao Wen, he's just a disappointment. You just told me you still have money, and he immediately called me saying you're broke. I think he's the one who's out of money, using you as an excuse to get cash from me." That's not true." My mother was practically flustered on the other end of the line, struggling to explain but finding it futile. In the end, she could only manage to say, "Sheng, what's been going on with you lately? You're not like your old self." I let out a light snort and said slowly, "Mom, if you ever run out of money in the future, just tell me. Don't make things hard for yourself." Yes, my mother mumbled her reply, clearly feeling a knot of frustration in her chest, making her extremely uncomfortable. I was about to hang up after hearing her out, but she suddenly started chatting with me about everyday matters. As we talked, she began mentioning that her heart wasn't feeling well. Her voice sounded a bit weak. "Lately, I've been feeling panicked at night and having trouble breathing. Do you think there might be something wrong with my heart? Sure enough, here it comes, the same trick as in my past life. Whenever she feels unwell, she always mentions it only to me. In my previous life, when she had back pain, I took her for physical therapy and surgery, spending over 50,000 yuan. Later, as she grew older and became deaf, I took her to the hospital to get hearing aids, which cost 10,000 yuan. She never mentioned any of this to my brother. She only tells me, and since we're all family, I can't very well go to my brother about it. After all, he's always tight on money, so the financial burden falls entirely on me. I casually remarked, is that so? Then I'll have to go discuss it with my brother. After all, a heart surgery isn't a small sum. As soon as I said this, she immediately grew nervous. Your brother is tight on money, not as capable as you are. Mom, this isn't about who's more capable, he's your son too. He can't keep hiding every time. I pretended to reason with her earnestly. Her tone grew even more anxious. She wanted to avoid the surgery, but she had always valued her life. After hesitating for a long while, she finally said, consider this money a loan from me, just don't go looking for your brother. You don't have a job either, how can you still pay? I said leisurely. She instinctively replied, you give me 3,000 every month. Halfway through her sentence, she realized something was wrong and fell silent. I smiled, so you actually know I give you 3,000 every month, then why do you tell others I haven't given you a single cent? In the past, no matter how many things she did that were unfair to me, I always swallowed my pride and endured it, letting it go because she is my mother. She also knew my personality well, understanding that I would always forgive her, so she never cared whether I would be hurt or not. Faced with such a direct and embarrassing question, she was clearly taken aback. She was stunned for a long time, and when she finally spoke, her words were somewhat unnatural. Mom was being foolish. I won't say things like that anymore. Later, then your surgery can wait too, I replied to her gently. Her expression instantly turned tense. Tomorrow, I'll go and make it clear tomorrow. All these years, it's been you giving me money, not a single cent from your brother. Are you satisfied now? Her last sentence was already choked with tears, carrying a clear tone of accusation. Seeing that I remained silent, she started speaking again. I'm old now. And you all look down on your mother. I understand it all. I'm a burden, causing trouble for you. I really should have gone with your father sooner, just like the guilt-tripping tactics from my past life. I won't fall for them this time around. I glanced at the time. Mom, I have work tomorrow, so I won't chat with you any longer. She was waiting for me to comfort her, apologize, and then give in, but she never expected me to hang up the phone directly, playing the dutiful child who can't do that. I made an appointment with my brother that very day, suggesting we go visit Mom at her hometown together and also discuss the heart bypass surgery for her. As soon as I got home, she had already prepared the meal. After we had eaten and drunk our fill, I brought up the matter of the heart bypass surgery right in front of Zhao Wen. My mother immediately changed her expression. Why are you bringing this up? Didn't we agree last night not to mention it? I won't mention how you'll handle the surgery. It's such a huge sum of money. I looked at her and spoke coldly. My brother took a sip of wine, let out a burp, and said, Mom is so old now, the risk of a heart bypass is too high. I don't support it. The implication was that if I supported it, I would have to pay for it myself. It had always been like this before. He pretended to refuse the surgery for Mom's sake, while Mom secretly wanted it and kept nagging me about it all day. I felt sorry for her, so I had no choice but to pay for it myself. My mother muttered discontentedly. When did you learn to pressure your brother? Is that any way for an older brother to behave? I sighed. Mom, you heard what was said. If my brother doesn't support it, my support alone is useless. After all, we're a family, connected at heart. We must be in agreement when making decisions. What do you mean by that? Are you saying Mom shouldn't have the surgery? My brother put down his wine glass, looking at me with a serious expression, his tone unable to hide a hint of tension. I pretended not to understand. I know you're also thinking of Mom. She's getting older, and if she really doesn't make it off the operating table because of this surgery, I'd feel guilty too. Such a major surgery definitely requires both of us to agree before it can be done. No. Zhao Wen stood up. Are you just going to stand by and watch Mom die from heart pain? So you mean you agree to let Mom have the bypass surgery? I looked at Zhao Wen and spoke unhurriedly. Zhao Wen's face flushed red with frustration. My mother nudged him, but he still remained silent. Everyone was staring at him. It took him a long time to finally blurt out, I didn't agree to it either. Oh my goodness. My mother slapped her thigh. crying with all her might, "I'm old and useless, you all look down on me," she cried while accusing us of not letting her have the surgery, attracting the neighbors over. Zhao Wen quickly went to pull her up. "Hurry up. And shut your mouth. Is it really a good look with so many people watching you make a fool of yourself?" Seeing that Zhao Wen was unhappy, my mother finally toned it down a bit and stood up from the ground. Omly stepped forward and spoke a fair word. "Zhao Wen, it's been your elder brother who's been giving your mother living expenses these past few years. Now that she needs surgery, it's not right for you to not contribute a single cent." Zhao Wen, who values face above all else, immediately changed his expression upon hearing this. "What do you mean I haven't given a single cent? Who told you such nonsense? Your mother said it herself. How could it be false?" Omly replied calmly. Upon hearing this, Zhao Wen's eyes instantly blazed with anger as he looked at my mother. "What have you been saying out there all day? I was forced into it too." My mom wanted to explain that I had forced her, but the situation was complicated, and she couldn't explain it clearly right away. Zhao Wen was so angry he pounded his chest and stomped his feet, then turned and left directly. Seeing Zhao Wen leave, my mom immediately grew tense, grabbing me and saying, "Hurry, go check on your brother, don't let him do anything rash." I watched Zhao Wen's retreating figure for a long time before finally turning my gaze to my mom. "Mom, in the past, no matter how much my brother angered me, even cursing me to die," and I stormed off in a rage. "I never saw you this worried." My mother's expression visibly stiffened upon hearing this. What are you talking about? I still care about you very much." Omly spoke up for me. "She puts on such a show in front of us about how much she loves her eldest son, but in reality, she still favors the useless younger one." Someone in the crowd began to murmur, "So she's not treating them equally after all. How can a mother be like this, taking her eldest son's money, yet constantly bad-mouthing him in front of us?" My mother was so ashamed she wished the ground would swallow her up, and she could only look at me with grievance, saying, "Ah Sheng, that's not what I meant. Mom, you've really let me down," I said, then turned and ran away just like Zhao Wen. This left my mother alone on the spot, being pointed at and whispered about by everyone. This time, I wouldn't stay behind to clean up her mess. This time, I didn't work myself to the bone just to save money for my mother's surgery. Instead, I used the money to buy myself a car, making my commute to and from work much more convenient. When my mom found out I bought a new car, I could vaguely sense dissatisfaction in her words, implying that I had money for a car but not for her heart bypass surgery. I didn't hold back either. "It's not me who refused the bypass. Your second son made it clear back then that he wouldn't pay for your surgery. I've always been willing." She wanted me to cover the entire cost, but she couldn't bring herself to say it outright. In the end, she hung up the phone, and after that, she didn't contact me for a long time. In my second year of work, as expected, the second floor leaked. She climbed up to the second floor to cover the rain with a tarp but accidentally fell down. She suffered comminuted fractures in both legs and was in so much pain that she fell unconscious by the time the ambulance arrived. That night, both Zhao Wen and I went to the hospital. Zhao Wen carried some fruit, his tone filled with concern. "Mom, how did this happen? At your age, how could you go up to the second floor roof without railings?" My mother looked aggrieved. "The second floor is leaking. I've mentioned it many times, but no one fixed it, so I had to go up there myself." "A leak? Why didn't you ever tell me about it?" Zhao Wen looked at my mother with a puzzled expression. She clicked her tongue and glanced at me. "I told your eldest brother about it." Yes. She had mentioned the leak on the second floor to me more than once, but in this lifetime, I couldn't be bothered to deal with it. Zhao Wen put down the bowl of porridge in his hand, his tone filled with dissatisfaction. "Brother, I have to say something about this. Mom already said that if you don't want to pay for her replacement, that's fine, but at least you could have told me so I could have done it for her." Sure enough, it was the same old rhetoric, making it seem like he was so filial, but if he were really asked to take out the money for the replacement, he'd be unhappy again. Bed 24, "Please settle the fees." The nurse walked in and handed the bill to us. I didn't reach out, and neither did Zhao Wen. The situation quickly became awkward. The nurse noticed our reluctance, and my mother felt embarrassed, her expression turning somewhat unpleasant. Seeing that we didn't take it, the nurse had no choice but to place the invoice on the bedside table. After that, the entire room fell into a silence that lasted for 10 minutes. Finally, Zhao Wen couldn't hold back any longer and spoke up. "We need to pay the fees to proceed with the surgery. It's not a good idea to keep delaying treatment for Mom's leg." After finishing, both my mom and Zhao Wen turned their gazes toward me. I nodded and slowly spoke. "It's not that I'm reluctant to spend the money, but Mom is at such an age, undergoing anesthesia and such a major surgery carries too much risk, using the same rhetoric as Zhao Wen. As soon as the words left my mouth, their faces turned livid with anger. Zhao Wen took a deep breath and finally spoke through gritted teeth. All right, how about we split it 50-50? Zhao Wen stared at me intently, the words practically forced out through gritted teeth. In an instant, Zhao Wen's gaze toward Mom completely changed. Seeing the irritation in Zhao Wen's eyes as she looked at her, my mother's face instantly turned sullen. She cared for Zhao Wen the most and didn't want to upset her. But when my mother had just spoken when Zhao Wen directly took the payment slip and walked out, my mother sat on the bed. Watching Zhao Wen's retreating figure, her face scrunched up in a tight knot, clearly feeling upset, she glanced at me, deliberately pouting with dissatisfaction, and complained, "I'm his mother, and when I ask him for some money, why does he act like this? At my age, I still have to put up with his attitude." After my mother finished speaking, her gaze fell on me. In my previous life, I knew that after my brother gave the money, he would give my mother a cold look, and she would feel hurt inside. So when I hear my mom say things like that, most of the time I just pay for it all myself, to avoid him getting upset and blaming her. She's using the same old trick again. Seeing that I didn't respond, she glanced at my expression and deliberately raised her voice. "Why don't you just pay for him, so he won't have anything to say?" Sure enough, we're getting to the main point. I kept my head down, playing with my phone, pretending not to hear. Seeing that I didn't respond, her face grew both anxious and angry, and in the end, she even started wiping away tears on her own. I couldn't be bothered to watch her put on a show. She cried alone until it lost its effect, and eventually stopped on her own. Zhao Wen is back. Now that the money has been given, the question of who will take care of Mom has become another difficult issue. In my previous life, I had to work and had no time to take care of her, so I paid Zhao Wen 300 yuan a day at the rate of a caregiver. In the end, my mother kept praising Zhao Wen in my ear, saying that he had been with her during her illness, and Zhao Wen even said that he would be willing to take care of his own mother even without payment. In my previous life, my mother was so delighted that she couldn't stop smiling, and she often mentioned in my ear how Zhao Wen was willing to take care of her without payment, and how filial he was. In my previous life, seeing her so happy, I didn't argue with her. In reality, if there was no payment, how could Zhao Wen possibly be willing to take care of her? Mom can't move her legs, so someone has to take care of her, right? Zhao Wen's gaze fell on me. I nodded. "Let's take turns, 1 day each." "Fine." Zhao Wen glanced at our mother on the bed, his expression filled with impatience. My mother lowered her eyes, looking somewhat aggrieved. Maybe we shouldn't let Awen take care of me." "Why, are you planning to take care of yourself all alone?" I looked at my mother and spoke unhurriedly. I knew what she meant. She wanted me to take care of her, but in this life, I wouldn't force myself to endure such hardship. She was taken aback for a moment and only spoke after a long pause. "I thought since Wen is so busy with work, you could take care of." When she met my cold gaze head on, she changed her tone. "Let's hire a caregiver." "I don't have money to hire a caregiver," Zhao Wen said impatiently. "If my brother wants to hire one, let him do it. I'll come take care of you myself every night." I didn't mean it that way. My mom looked at Zhao Wen's unhappy expression, wanting to calm him down, but since I didn't respond, there was nothing she could do. She choked back her words. "Well, let's just leave it at that." She lowered her head, looking both unhappy and a little sad, but her eyes glanced toward me from the corner. She's trying to make me feel sorry for her, but she's really overthinking it this time. Zhao Wen worked during the day and had to come take care of Mom at night, and he was in a bad mood all day long. The scene of motherly love and filial piety from the past life is nowhere to be seen now. I heard that during my mom's hospital stay, Zhao Wen never cooked soup for her. He always just bought hospital boxed meals. In my past life, I was the one who would make soup for her every day after work and bring it over, yet she always found fault, saying it was either too bland or too salty. In short, no matter what, it could never compare to Zhao Wen. In that case, then don't eat it. However, today was quite strange. Zhao Wen was smiling and cheerful all day long. When things are out of the ordinary, there must be something unusual going on. Sure enough, I found out that she had withdrawn the money from the pharmacy and given it to Zhao Wen. Her heart condition is a chronic issue, and she has always needed medication. Since it was too troublesome for me to send it from the city every time, I directly set up a 30,000 yuan card for her at the pharmacy. I never expected her to withdraw the money, since she gave the money to Zhao Wen. Even if she suffers to death later, it has nothing to do with me. After a month of treatment, my mother was discharged from the hospital quickly, but her legs were completely immobile, requiring constant care. As soon as Xiao Wen's wife arrived at the hospital, she couldn't help but complain, "We both have to work. How can we take care of you all the time?" Xiao Wen also nodded, "Mom, look at the trouble you've caused, making everyone uneasy, truly. When the elderly lack virtue, the whole family suffers." Xiao Wen's wife blurted out unexpectedly. Xiao Wen looked coldly at my mother. "Mom, everyone is busy and has their own things to do. Can you please cause less trouble in the future?" My mother felt wronged by the criticism and couldn't help but lower her head. She wanted to defend herself but didn't dare, so she could only look to me for help. In the past, such situations would always end with me taking the blame to help her out of trouble. Xiao Wen complained for a long time, but seeing that I didn't say anything, he could only go to handle the discharge procedures with a reluctant expression. The first month was at Xiao Wen's house, and the second month was at mine. This time, I won't take on all the responsibility alone to care for her. Seeing Xiao Wen and the others leave, my mother immediately grabbed my hand, tears falling with grievance. "I don't want to go to their house. At my age, I'd have to live under their watchful eyes. There's no other way," I said with a helpless expression. "I can't take care of you all by myself. Can't you just hire someone to take care of me at home?" My mother tugged at my clothes, refusing to let go. I pulled her hand away. "But we'd have to pay for a caregiver too." She was stunned, never expecting me to be so particular about money. In the past, I had always prioritized his feelings, and I couldn't bear to see her suffer even the slightest grievance. "It's not that much money. What's the big deal if you pay for it alone? Hiring a full-time caregiver costs at least 10,000 yuan. How is that not a lot?" I stared at her, never imagining she would say such a thing. "Money, money, money. That's all you think about now. You don't even have me, your mother, in your mind anymore." My mother leaned back on the bed, and I covered my face, starting to cry. Xiao Wenjing happened to walk in at that moment, his tone unfriendly. "Enough, Mom, let's go." My mother was helped into a wheelchair, tears welling in her eyes as she stared at me. "Let me tell you, I will never set foot in your house again. I might as well consider myself childless." I watched her leave, thinking that if she truly never stepped into my home again, I would have every reason to set off fireworks in celebration. I heard that she couldn't stand staying at Xiao Wen's house for more than 3 days. In my previous life, I gave them money, and Xiao Wen catered to her tastes for every meal. She loved stewed soup, so Xiao Wen made it for her every day. But now, it's been 5 days, and I haven't even had a sip of soup. The young people like to eat spicy food, but her teeth are hurting, and eating spicy food makes them hurt even more. She told me she couldn't sleep a full night's sleep and asked me to take her away, as she didn't want to put up with others' attitudes at Xiao Wen's house anymore. I scoffed lightly. "Mom, there's nothing we can do about it. 1 month per person, that's what we agreed on." She fell silent for a moment, not expecting me to refuse, and a hint of disappointment crept into her tone. "Then, the medicine. My heart medication is almost gone. In the past, whenever my mom came to the city to visit, I would directly pay for her to get the medicine at the hospital. Only when she was in the countryside would I let her use the money from that card to buy it herself, but most of the time, even when she was in the countryside, would have someone deliver the medicine to her, so she rarely had the chance to use the money from that card. This time, she thought I would do the same as before. Isn't there still money on the hospital membership card? Just ask Xiao Wen or find a courier to buy it for you, I said without a care. She muttered a few words about me being unfilial, that I wasn't as dutiful as before. Seeing that I didn't respond, she then spoke with a somewhat weak tone. You all don't take care of me. I bought a lot of medicine in the countryside, and it's all used up. I laughed. This card was issued to you half a year ago. Spending over 30,000 in 6 months is no small amount. If the expenses are this high, then the money for heart medicine in the future will have to be shared with Xiao Wen and everyone else. Don't ask her. My mother quickly spoke up nervously. I don't need you to buy it anymore. I don't need you to buy it anymore. She hung up after saying that, and I couldn't be bothered to care. Still going to work every day as usual, I heard that my mother was having heart trouble, unable to sleep through the night, so she told Xiao Wen, hoping he would give some money for medicine. The result was predictable. Xiao Wen didn't refuse outright, but kept putting it off, first saying he'd buy it after getting his salary, then saying he'd do it after saving enough for the child's tuition. Every night, she was in so much pain that her whole person grew noticeably more haggard. When I went to pick her up, she had lost at least 10 pounds. I stood at the door, and my mother seemed to still be sulking, saying to Xiao Wen, I'm not going to Ah Xing's house. Xiaowen didn't care about her and continued packing her luggage. I don't care if you want to go or not, it's 1 month per person, and you have to go whether you like it or not. My mother didn't get the chance for us to coax her, so she could only pout and reluctantly follow me back. I hired a caregiver to take care of her at home, and I haven't been back for a month. After finalizing the contract with Mr. Jia today, I returned home, took a shower, and was about to watch some TV when unexpectedly, she showed up. I glanced at her sideways. What do you want? She rubbed her hands together, hesitating a bit. You know about your brother borrowing 100,000 yuan from your grandmother, right? Got it, I said coldly, looking at her. Certain it was nothing good, she hesitated for a moment. You know your grandmother is sick and in the hospital now. Her sons and grandchildren are asking your brother about that money. I promised them that you would repay it. Okay, I replied slowly. Her eyes lit up. Then why don't we withdraw the money now and give it to your brother? Withdraw money? What for? I looked at her, puzzled. My company deals with loans. I can just help him get a mortgage on his house and secure a loan of 100,000 yuan. That's not what I meant. My mother was so anxious she almost stood up. They just finished paying off their mortgage. How could they possibly take out another loan? How about using your house to get the loan instead? I can't do that. I just took out a loan to buy a new car, so I can't apply for another one. In truth, I hadn't taken out a loan at all. I was just lying to her. She widened her eyes. Your brother is going through a tough time right now, and instead of thinking about helping out, you went and bought a new car. Do you mean I should pay off my brother's debt? And I have to bear the loss for this money? I stared at her, unable to help but find her words somewhat amusing. She knew she was in the wrong, but she still forced herself to speak up. Isn't that how it is in the village? You're the older brother, so naturally you should take on more hardship. It'll be good for you in the future. I pretended to understand and nodded. Then I'll go ask around the village tomorrow to see if other families are like this. My mother cares most about her reputation, and upon hearing this, she quickly grabbed my clothes. Don't go. I was wrong. I know I was wrong. I shook off his hand and have been staying at the company ever since, never going back home. She stayed in the city for another 6 months before returning to the countryside. After moving to the countryside, I cut off her living expenses, and Xiaowen also ignored her. It's safe to say she had a miserable life. At first, she said it didn't matter if we didn't give her money, she would just beg on the streets, from one end of the village to the other, and it would be my reputation that suffered anyway. But later, she realized that I hadn't returned even once in 2 or 3 years, and whatever the villagers said had no impact on me. Finally, she panicked and desperately tried to mend our relationship, but it was already too late. All she could get was the minimum living allowance of 500 yuan per month, as required by the court. Life was a world apart from what it used to be. I heard she had an ear problem that was never addressed, and she eventually went deaf. As for her teeth, she never got them replaced. Wearing that cheap set of dentures made every bite of food a torment. She called Xiao Wen, saying she wanted to get back some of the money she had spent on heart disease medication, but Xiao Wen kept putting her off. She finally began to regret it, regretting that she had given the money to Xiao Wen, regretting that she had offended me, regretting that she had never cared about my feelings before. I heard that she had lost her former dignity in the village and was truly begging in the town every day. The villagers all said she deserved it. When I used to give her money, she didn't appreciate it and slandered me everywhere. Now that I've really stopped giving, she should suffer. In this life, it is she who should rot in the mud. After hearing the 2 stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.